This is Adam Miller, your movies correspondent and associate producer for The RPM Show, here to tell you about a new movie called The Conspirator. Now, this is a historical drama that is directed by Robert Redford, and it stars James McAvoy, Robin Wright, Evan Rachel Wood, Kevin Kline, Alexis Bledel, Justin Long, James Badge Dale, Danny Houston, Colin Minoy, and Tom Wilkinson. Now, the movie takes us back to April 14th, 1865, which is the day that we saw in history one of the greatest crimes in American history. And that is the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, probably our greatest president ever, and to an assassin named John Wilkes Booth. Now, the movie takes us forward to see what happens afterward. Now, as history shows, as we see in the movie, 8 people were arrested alive and were put on trial as conspirators. Now, John Wilkes Booth was, of course, killed after a 14-day manhunt. He was shot in a barn. Now, James McAvoy plays Frederick Aiken, who was a Union soldier who fought in the war, and is now a lawyer who practices alongside Tom Wilkinson. Now, he has been picked to defend the only woman who was being put on trial, Mary Surratt, played by Robin Wright. Now, Mary Surratt, in connection to the conspiracy around the assassination, is rather circumstantial. She was basically picked because her son, John Surratt, was one of the main cohorts with John Wilkes Booth and was one of the masterminds behind the whole assassination plot. So she was basically a victim of circumstantial evidence, and James McAvoy has to prove that she's being held accountable for her son's actions. Now, the movie itself is extremely well done. It's a very realistically told historical period drama. For you history buffs out there, it is very historically accurate in terms of the actual details of the assassination and, of course, the people who were put on trial. You know, every intimate detail is kept intact and is told, correctly. The acting is top notch. James McAvoy, Robin Wright. Everybody in this cast, they're huge stars, and they all do, they play their roles respectively, and they disappear into the actual character, who was actually, who was an actual person in real life. In so doing, it's also an emotional movie. I mean, if you know the assassination about Lincoln and you know everything surrounding it, the opening scene, of course, where we see the deed, the murder itself is rather emotional. And of course, if you know the history on Mary Surratt and the whole trial and whatever, the finale is actually rather very heartbreaking. Just so you keep that in mind. But anyway, the movie itself I give it a 10 out of 10. It was a wonderfully done movie. Robert Redford did a really good job directing this movie, as he did with another movie called Quiz Show, which is another fact-based drama that he did in the early 90s. But anyway, it's well worth it. It's, you should go see it. It's a really good historical movie. I give it as I said, a 10 out of 10. I highly recommend it, so go see it. Now, when you do go see it, or if you have seen it already, I want to know what you think. Am I right on the ball, or am I not? And what are your reasons for liking it or not liking it? So email me, adam@therpmshow.com. And also go to our website, therpmshow.com. Link with us on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, Hub Pages, YouTube, Blueberry. Download our shows on iTunes. And of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can get instant access to all of our other videos and other stuff as well. And of course, friend us on Facebook. You can also friend me, my 2 co-hosts, Ryan and Mike, respectively. And so, that's it for now. Now, until next time, until I bring another review or another news story, I will see you then and report the news as it happens. So, stay tuned and see you later.